I started my ID business 11 years ago. And when I started, there wasn't really a lot out there as to how to even run an ID business. So in this video, I'm going to break down my complete list on what you need to get your ID business up and running and consistently making you money. Are you ready to hear it? Okay, so let's make sure that you're getting paid what you're worth and avoiding sleepless nights and all these headaches and migraines about actually running your business. First things first, friend, you need a project management system. You are your own boss, your own instructional designer. And when you are working outside of the constraints of a full-time or W-2 position, you really have to manage your own projects and your own deliverables. And oftentimes you're working on multiple projects at once. And if you're relying on just like your brain to remember where you are on everything and maybe just a notebook that you have off to the side, things are going to fall through the cracks. And while it may be okay right now when you're only working on like onesies and twosies projects, as you start to build up more projects, the project tasks are going to get bigger. You're going to have things that intersect each other. Projects are going to go on hold. So many deadlines are going to end up in your mind that you can't even keep them straight. So get yourself a project management system that works best for you. There are so many out there. I've used Trello, I've used Smartsheets, I've used Basecamp, I've used Asana, I've used Monday.com. I've even am dabbling into ClickUp. There are a million project management systems. So really you need to find the one that works best for you. Right now we're kind of using a hybrid, we are using a hybrid of Smartsheet and Basecamp. Basecamp really for communication, Smartsheet for really tracking the tasks like very granularly. So everybody knows what they're expected and when. The other reason I love project management systems as an instructional designer is that I give access to that project management timeline to my client. And let me tell you, when you give that level of transparency to your clients, I mean, it just earns you so many bonus points and they're able to really know where you are on that project and where you stand. Let me tell you, there's nothing worse when you hire a contractor or you hire a vendor and you don't hear from them. This gives you the ability to not always have to check in with them and they're able to see where they are on a project or where you are on the project and when they should be expecting things and when they should be blocking off their calendars for review. So get yourself a project management system. I also recommend you create a project or task list of everything you need to be doing on your business or for your business. Right? So we get so busy working in our business that often the last thing we do is work on our business. So take that project management system and create your own project that is just for yourself and just for your freelance business. And you can add tasks like paying your quarterly taxes, running annual reports, making sure your subscriptions are up to date, auditing all of the things that you spend recurringly every single month so you can see what are expenses that you don't actually need to be incurring. All of those things are things that I think we all have in the back of our mind that we need to do, but we don't actually do them until they're on paper and we actually have the time to sit down and we take that time to complete that task. So if you put it in your project management system, it holds you more accountable to work on your business. Now, since there's so many project management tools out there, I want you to leave a comment down below and share your favorite. No wrong answers here because project management tools are truly really personal and what works best for you may not work best for me, but I would love to hear more feedback on what you're using. Okay, friends, so if you don't have some sort of portfolio, you need to get one now. Start to curate your own work samples so people can really see what it would be like to work with you. And if you don't have e-learning on there yet, that's fine. I know it's really hard to look at portfolio past e-learning samples, but honestly, e-learning is only like one minuscule part of the entire instructional design and learning and development world. And there are so many opportunities that it doesn't matter if you know how to put together an e-learning module or not. I want to know that you can actually create curriculum, you can actually create content, that you can actually take what we're telling you our problem is, do some performance analysis and really look at it and give me an actual solution. And all of those things might not be e-learning. So I want samples from you outside of just e-learning. I just recently, well, we're always hiring at Anchor Training, but I just recently went through a huge hiring phase and I saw so many e-learning samples, but I was really looking for someone that can convert VILT to ILT and walk me through what they did and show me a facilitator guide and tell me how you went from, you know, whatever content you received from your SME or whatever request you got to that facilitator guide. That to me is super important. And so your portfolio is not just e-learning. So remember that. And I have to tell you, at this point, portfolios are pretty much a non-negotiable. A lot of times, a lot of organizations are just gonna completely filter you out if you don't have a portfolio of some sort. So you need to get one. I also want you to think of your website and your portfolio as one and the same. So your portfolio should be linked to on your website, and you want to think of your website as your home base. This is the place that people are going to come back to find out more information about you, to see what other services that you have, and it's a really quick way for them to find you and get a whole glimpse of who you are as an instructional designer. Do you want to learn more about what should go on your website and your portfolio? Well, you're in luck. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, because later on this month, I have 2 videos coming at you, and one is all about your website and the other one is all about your portfolio. So don't miss it. Hit those buttons now. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to need is a portfolio template. So this is especially going to be important as you start bidding more on projects and going away necessarily from hourly. And really, you're going to want to have a proposal for projects that you're really doing the end-to-end development. Of course, some clients are going to ask you for proposals and the project is going to be hourly, so you can include that. Having that proposal template really speeds up and makes you more efficient into actually submitting a proposal to a prospective client. So what exactly do you put in a portfolio? Here are my non-negotiables must have in my portfolio sections. Who you are, a summary of what value you add, a summary of your background and experience, and providing details about what a client should expect working with you. So what's that process going to be like? How are we going to work together? And the reason that you want to have these already done is because these don't really change based on the project that you're working on. Your background and experience is your background and experience. You may add to it from time to time, but it's pretty much set in stone. The value that you add, pretty much you have it set in stone. So again, this just helps speed up the process. And then what I do is I take my proposal template, and when I need to write a new proposal, I skim through those sections that are already done and see if I need to make any improvements based on anything that's changed. But then I just dive into the specifics that are requested for this project, right? So I'll go into how we'll work together specifically on this project, what phases I'm looking at, the team that I would need to pull into that project. And then of course, the investment, right? So what is the price for the project? Whether it's an hourly rate, which we don't really price based on hourly at all anymore, but if it's hourly or if it's a full project rate. And so that proposal really, it used to take me hours to maybe even days to put together proposals. Now the process has sped up so much because I have our template. We've written it so many times that we're in a really good place that all I have to do is do the project specifics and that proposal is out the door. And let me tell you, clients love when you can have a proposal back to them really quickly. Having all those pieces already done really helps to minimize the amount of time that you really need to spend on that specific proposal. Want to learn more about what I put in a proposal? Well, give this video a thumbs up and I will break down my complete proposal template. I'll even let you see it. Okay, so you've won the work. Now what? Well, you're going to need to make sure that you are covered. This means putting together some sort of master design agreement and statement of work. So I actually have both, and my clients sign both because one doesn't really cover the other, and master design agreements I only use one time. Let me break down what the differences are. So a master design agreement is a framework of how myself and my clients work together. It really gets all those legalities out of the way that we don't need to repeat every single time that we work on a project. And the goal is that this isn't going to be a one and done project that we work on together. It's going to be recurring projects in the future. So that master design agreement really stipulates things like non-competes and all of those things. Even includes non-disclosures. So I also have a non-disclosure agreement. Outside of that, I also have a statement of work, and this I write for every single project, and is probably my most coveted legal document. That is because it stipulates exactly what is part of the scope of work for every single project, meaning what's in scope and what's not in scope, and it's something that we both agree to. So once that statement of work is signed, and I even stipulate things like how many rounds of review for each type of deliverable and what's included as part of the deliverables of the project. As soon as my clients start to go outside of that statement or scope of work, I am able to say, hey, remember that statement of work that you signed? This is actually outside of that. So we're actually gonna have to issue a change order in order to help with, in order to help meet the needs that you have, right? So whether it's additional reviews, because all of a sudden they brought in a brand new review team, or completely changing the look and feel of the agreed upon design. So that statement of work really helps to create those boundaries around the projects and helps you, right? It is meant to support you and make sure that you're not being taken advantage of and that you're working within the boundaries of that project so you're not overworking and getting underpaid. So for a while, I just created my own invoices using Excel. I found some template on Microsoft Online or something like that and just used that. And that was fine in the very beginning, but it was also an administrative nightmare, especially when it came to things like reconciling my tax information and just being able to pull documentation easily as needed. So I recommend that you find yourself an invoicing system. It's also a way to be proactive about your future. Eventually, you're going to have so many projects that you're working on that it just makes it easier to track where an invoice is if you're using an invoicing system, as opposed to pulling up that Excel spreadsheet and figuring out the dates and transferring that information onto a calendar so you know when a client is overpaid on their invoice and all of those things. The other beauty about an invoicing system is that it provides you with reports. You can look at things like profit and loss, how much money you've made for the year, and can help you predict the future of when you see highs and lows, right? So I really use our invoicing system to see, okay, what was I doing 2 months before that we're having this big spike? Because I want to be doing that again. Or what was I doing not doing 2 months before that now we're seeing a little bit of dip in sales? Also helps me to predict when our peaks and our lows are in our business. And some, I think most, if not all invoicing systems, allow your clients to pay you directly through that invoicing system, which means it's easier for them to pay you and you get paid faster. Now, Wave is a tool that I've used and it's free. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't be using an invoicing system when there is a free invoicing system for you to use. So I definitely want you to check that one out. Also, here's my bonus on invoicing systems. If you're really good and you take the time to set out a day to really add in all of your expenses, you can really see your profit and loss throughout the year. The other reason that is good is you can actually add your CPA to most, if not all, invoicing systems. They can jump in and tell you how much you owe in taxes quarterly and just maybe make any adjustments as your income adjusts throughout the year. They can also, at the end of the year, just go in, pull the reports and information they need, saving you time and money when it comes to everyone's favorite time, tax time. Friends, you need some sort of lead generator. Now, when I say lead generator, I don't mean some sort of gimmick, freebie, or anything like that. You just need a way to bring in leads into your system. You have to find them. You can't just sit and do your work and just assume people are going to come to you. Let me tell you, that's not how it works. Nope. If it was, I really, really, really enjoy that. But unfortunately, that's just not how lead generation and sales works. And when you are starting an instructional design business, you're your own salesperson, friend. There's no one out there fishing for the work. You have to find it. Even if you're working with an agency, you have to still go find that agency to work with them. So you're always going to be selling. And the other thing with that too is that you never want to always have all your eggs in one basket and have most of your money held or come in based on one client. Reason for that, if anything happened to that client, what do you think would happen to your income? So having your hand in with a few different clients and a few different ways to bring in leads is really important to ensure longevity in the business and to help for that rainy day or maybe the next 2020. So depending on the type of instructional designer that you want to be, you may go to places like LinkedIn, Upwork, the Articulate community, instructional design Slack communities, maybe RFP sites. So you need to kind of know who your ideal clients are and where they're hanging out so you can pull in those different leads. And I will tell you, some of this is trial and error. Like, you're not going to always go to one place and find everything that you need. But over the years, you'll figure out where you find your best leads and continue to go to them, right? And look for more. Always be looking for ways to generate leads into your business. And last but not least, and actually becoming very quickly my favorite, you need marketing. And you really need some sort of marketing plan. And I don't mean that you need like some full-pronged, we post this type of content on this day and we do this here and that, and I do a blog and I do this and I do that. No, I don't mean you need all of that. What I just mean is that you need to know who it is that you are talking to, right? Who is your ideal client and where are they going? Right? Where are they looking for instructional designers? Where are they hanging out and just having conversation about learning and development? And you, friends, need to go be there. And I will tell you, marketing is definitely a long game, but when done right and done effectively, it definitely helps to fill your pipeline so that you don't have these big ups and downs as a freelancer, which I think so many of us get actually kind of used to, that you almost are like, this is the way it's always going to be. Huge ups and huge downs, huge ups and huge downs. By doing marketing consistently, you can definitely help those peaks and valleys, right? And it makes it just a little bit more consistent, a little bit more predictable for you, and probably helps your heart rate a little bit. So the biggest way that we all know that we get referrals in this business is through word of mouth and referrals. So you need to be putting your information out there, right? Like, what is it that you do? What are your services? How can people contact you, right? Oh, so often we forget what other people do. Our friends or families don't really know what instructional design is. So if you're putting out there that you're an instructional designer, they're probably going to forget unless they're really in tune with that part of your business. So it's really important that you instead are doing education about what you're doing. So maybe you're sharing your work, maybe you're sharing a client win and things like that, and you're putting your work out there. So that way people can really start to see and understand what it is that you do. So when someone comes to them and says, yeah, we're putting together this new training and we really need someone to help us actually walk us through the process and consult with us, you know what? I've got just the person for you. Joey does that. Let me get you his contact information. And that is a way of marketing. So don't mean that you need to have Facebook ads, instructional design ads, LinkedIn ads, and this whole huge strategy. You just need to be able to talk about yourself, your work, in a way that it connects with other people so that they remember you. Also, there are so many social media platforms out there. Do not try to be on all of the things, because you cannot be on all of the things effectively. Pick 1 to 2 platforms. My recommendation is 2 that you can really be on and dive into. And if you're going to just choose one, or you're one of your 2, make sure one of them is LinkedIn. 9 times out of 10 as an instructional designer, your people are hanging out on LinkedIn. So be there. You also have the opportunity to meet really wonderful other members of the instructional design community, just other members of other communities that you really can learn from. Just because someone is in sales or marketing or mathematics, doesn't mean that I can't actually learn something from them that I can apply to instructional design. So I love connecting with people in all different industries. So you also don't know who's who's connected to who, and it just really can expand your reach and expand your knowledge, and you can actually tie in different things that you've read about to learning and development that are completely outside of the industry, which helps you with content for marketing, which is a whole different conversation. But for right now, when you're starting out in your business, focus on marketing. Focus on talking about what you do, talking about your work, and getting your name out there just amongst your friends and family first. So now that you're ready to start your instructional design business, I want you to click the link down below and grab my free 6-step blueprint. These are 6 simple steps that you can action on today to get you started in instructional design and freelancing. It goes beyond what you need to know about instructional design and really gets into the heart of who you are as an instructional designer and who you want to be for others as an instructional designer. And it also helps to make that freelancing roller coaster I talked about earlier kind of like even itself out, so it's not such a high, low, thrill, pit of your stomach type feeling. So don't forget to click the link in the description box to grab it. And if you want to continue learning more about instructional design and building your business, make sure you click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you are notified of every single video when they come up on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Friends, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.